Welcome back, everyone. May is American Stroke Month, and strokes are the #1 cause of disability and #4 cause of death in the United States. So to explain some of the signs of a stroke and maybe to break down what to do and what we need to know if someone you know is having one, we have Kayla Smith from the American Heart Association and Katie Hall from UT Medical Center joining us this morning. Good morning, ladies, and thanks so much for being here.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Very important topic always, but especially this month. Sometimes we hear those stats and don't really take them in, but #1 cause of disability, #4 cause of death. This is something we should all be paying attention to, right?
Absolutely.
And so what do we need to do to be better prepared and to be in better know of all of this?
Well, the most important thing that you can do is recognize stroke. We always say that time is brain, so minutes matter when identifying stroke. And in America, stroke occurs about every 40 seconds. So BFAST is the perfect way to recognize and identify stroke. BFAST stands for any kind of sudden issues and balance loss. Eyes, so vision changes, visual changes, blurriness, facial droop, so asymmetrical smiles, that sort of thing. Arm weakness, so kind of to one side of the body versus the other. Speech difficulties, and if any single one of those is noticed, then it's time to call 911.
Because as you said, seconds matter.
It does, absolutely.
And that can be hard. I mean, you can recognize this with someone that you know and love, but also in a stranger too in a situation.
The thing is, if you have a brain, you can have a stroke, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's an equal opportunity illness. Anyone, anytime, any age can suffer from a stroke. And so it's important to be able to recognize that.
And one of the things we also know is that strokes many times are preventable. And so what can we do to help prevent these?
Yeah, strokes are 80% preventable, and so you can do the same things that we were here talking about with you in Heart Month, you can do to also prevent stroke, and that is one of the biggest things is managing your blood pressure. So if you have hypertension, making sure you know that you're on medication, you're trying to get that lowered, but also knowing what your numbers are. So what's your cholesterol level, your blood sugar, your BMI. If you live an active, healthy lifestyle, you can prevent many of the things that can cause a stroke to happen.
It's sort of one of those things where in this case, what you don't know can hurt you.
Absolutely.
So you need to get these things checked. And then you can get advice from your doctor, I imagine, if some of these tests come back and they're not what we would like.
Yeah, talking with your primary care, getting established with your primary care, as well as going to stroke.org. There's tons of resources there to kind of even bring questions to have conversations in those doctor's appointments.
And there are different types of strokes that can
Absolutely.
happen.
Yeah, there's two types of stroke. Ischemic stroke, which is the most common, and hemorrhagic stroke. So realistically, it's kind of like a heart attack in a way. Like you're either going to have a blockage or you have a bleed. So either way, that blood flow to the brain is disrupted, and that's why we see that immediate onset of symptoms, that sudden onset of symptoms when we start to recognize and utilize BFAST.
And I know a lot of times when it comes to medical emergencies, they can take shape in different forms for both men and women. Is that the case here, or can we be looking for the same things in both men and women?
Actually, it's more women than men suffer stroke. At about 55,000 more women a year than men will suffer stroke. And it seems that it's a little more atypical in presentation. So the balance loss, the dizziness, the unsteadiness, visual changes, things that we may not exactly see or recognize in someone, like the facial droop and the arm drift and those elements. So I always say, you know you better than anyone else. And you know when you don't feel good. And you know when you may be ignoring some things. And that's never something to kind of hope it goes away.
And if people want to find out more information and get more resources, Kayla, where can they go?
Yeah, they should go to stroke.org. We have a ton of resources on there. We also have support groups because caretakers need support too, and people that have survived strokes need support. So you can join the support groups, get resources, and get connected and plugged in with a community that can share the same stories that you might be walking through and help one another.
Well, thank you ladies both so much for stopping by
Thank
this
you.
morning.
Thank you.
Certainly we appreciate it.